This is a story I do not often tell. I promise sincerely, this has scarred me for life. And although I've looked into psychological explanations for what I've heard, and natural explanations for what has occurred, they remain unsatisfactory. When I was a child, I was scared of the dark. I swore to my mother I heard voices in it. They were not evil, but they were not familiar, and so they scared me. It was not uncommon in the middle of the night for me to wake up and hear whispers, as I would call them when asking my mom. She figured they were just bumps in the night, typical kid's nightmare material. I tried often to explain to her that it was more than that they sounded different from one another the way people's voices do. On some nights, I would get so scared from these whispers that I would sleep in my mom's bed with her. It was an added bonus that the bathroom was directly outside of her bedroom door, because I feared walking down that hallway late at night. I should add at this point that when walking out into the hall to go to the bathroom, you look directly down the stairs that would lead you into my living room on the first floor. On one such night around Christmas, I awoke and felt the need to use the bathroom. I walked out from the door and distinctly heard the phrase, "Look." To my astonishment, a red light, almost like a spotlight, was cast upon the wall at the very bottom of the stairs. The light had no other source. It was by itself, and I was transfixed by it. Being a little kid, only a few days from Christmas, I knew what this light was. It could only be Santa. How else could he get into my house to know I was being a good boy? I was so excited I began to walk down the stairs to greet him, picking up my pace after the second step as it began to creep off the wall and fade into the darkness in my living room. That's when I heard him. A strong, deep voice, distinctly different from the others, not at all like my father's. It said, "Stop right now. Go back up those stairs." I listened, turned around, and what happened next I am not sure I would believe if someone had told me the same story. I heard a very loud crash that sent me running back to my mother's bed, where I jumped straight under the covers, and I stayed there the whole night. When we awoke the next morning, the poinsettia lights that my mother had put on the railing down the stairs were pulled straight down to the bottom of the stairs, some broken from what seemed like a forceful tear laying in a single pile. The dry sink in my living room had fallen from the wall. My mother could not explain it. My father was worried we had been the victims of a home invasion. My sister was crying. There was nothing missing. Nobody had broken in. There did not seem to be any reason this had happened. And then I saw it. I kept quiet about it because I was so afraid that I could not force the words out of my mouth. There, on the edge of the wooden dry sink which had been facing up, there were 3 indentations where the finish on the wood had been worn, almost as if in a forceful grip. Someone down there had grabbed it and threw it down. That was what the bang was. I was mortified. After that day, I never heard a single voice again. I did not like to imagine what was waiting downstairs for me that night, luring me down, if anything at all. But I can tell you that the reality was that something had physically acted upon 2 things in my house near the bottom of that stairwell. After this, I had never heard another whisper again, which is sad because in some ways I would have liked to have thanked the man that had stopped me from going down those stairs. This happened when I was 7. I am 20 years old now, and because of this incident, I am still afraid of the dark, especially shadowy stairwells. I was living in a house in Laguna Beach that had been there since the 1920s. In its history, it had been a speakeasy, a brothel, and a house for smuggling illegal immigrants. One day, my new wife and I were having an argument. I can't even recall what it was about. She walked down the block to get a cup of coffee and to cool off, and I was alone in the house. The way the place was built was incredibly haphazard. There was a bedroom and a living room on one side, then a bathroom with 2 entrances. On the other side of the bathroom was a hallway that had windows in one side and 2 bedrooms in the other. From my bedroom, I could look across the hall into my bathroom, then through the bathroom down the other hall. I was standing at my dresser, and I just noticed a movement out of the corner of my eye, and I peered down there. There was, and honest to God, this gives me goosebumps 17 years later just thinking about it. A black figure standing there. It might have been 3 feet tall. It was only vaguely humanoid. It looked like black scribbles, like someone had scribbled a human shape. But the scribbles moved, like electricity arcing. It's the only way I can think to describe this. It was energy. There was no sound, only silence. I distinctly remember when I saw it, I wasn't afraid, just bewildered. And then it took notice of me. It didn't turn around, it simply focused its perception on me. Then I was scared. I didn't move, didn't scream, nothing. Just frozen. Frozen. Because it just fucking came at me. It rushed down the hall towards me. I have no idea what it intended, but as soon as it entered the bathroom, I slammed the door shut on it. I screamed. I yelled for my wife, but she wasn't even home. I went outside to the daylight. I didn't go back in till she got home 10 minutes later. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't know what I saw. I don't believe in the supernatural either. I just know there was something there. I just can't explain it. I just can't explain it.